Hey guys, welcome to another episode of
Tried it. Oh,
That Was Like Perfectly
yeah.
Timed. Wasn't even like scheduled or we didn't plan
We
that.
y'all know we don't rehearse. We just get on here and start talking.
Nope. So, this conversation was born out of, or this question was born out of a conversation I had with a friend a couple days ago.
Okay.
So, and I'll explain the backstory after you answer my question.
Well,
What has I started off with the word grief, but I think it's more like sorrow. What has sorrow looked like to you? If you could describe it in a couple words in different phases or situations of your life.
oof, that might make me cry. Um, I don't know that. I think it probably qualify as sorrow too. I think that the most recent thing I can think of is like having my son, most beautiful thing ever. And we can do a different show about it, but I decided to be what TikTok calls an SMBC, single mom by choice. So I had my baby via a donor. And it was just because I hadn't met my person and knew that I wanted to have kids. I was getting older. And so I wanted to have a baby and didn't want to like miss my opportunity for that and regret it later in life because I was just waiting on something that never came. So have my son. He's amazing. I regret nothing. I wish I'd done it sooner, honestly. But the one bit of, I think, sorrow or I'll call it grief that I had in that process was it felt very much like, and I know that it's not now, but in the moment, it felt very much like closing the door on the opportunity to have it done the traditional way.
Mm,
Like it felt like I was saying that that was done, like that
mm,
wasn't going to happen ever.
yeah.
And now that he's here, I mean, obviously people, you know, have children and meet their person after, and like it's still can happen, but it felt very much like I was giving up on that journey.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. And so that was part of the process in me choosing to have my son the way that I did. There was a little bit of grief
Yeah.
in feeling like I was giving up on something I wanted.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can attest to that, especially people like our generation. We've seen, I think the world, I can only speak for the United States. The world is seeing way more singles than
Oh
it
yeah.
used to. And so people aren't getting married like they used to, whether they
Mm-hmm.
want to or not.
Right.
But there's a definite cry for companionship.
Mm.
And for some reason, we're just not seeing it. I
Yeah.
think there are reasons to it, but that's another conversation. But yeah, that's a good one. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. So the reason why we were talking about this, obviously I have students and I work as a respiratory therapist. So I teach students and kind of grooming the next generation of respiratory therapists. And I had overheard from one of the other teachers that someone's like, we have to deal with death and dying. And I'm like, yeah.
You're in medicine.
And so that shows a couple of things, but my plan was to talk about death and dying to the
Mm.
students. And there is a course I think in the next semester where they talk about it, but I think it's important to talk about that topic now because it is hard. And so I was
Yeah.
telling my friend, I was like, I carry with myself probably a dozen or so little ghosts. And I don't mean that like I have people like saying
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah.
like there are patients who I've lost who have stayed with me
Mm.
since I lost them. And
Yeah.
as I was describing some of the deaths and how the family member and I grieved, I came to realize that each death was grieved and sorrow was expressed in a different way. And
Mm.
so one of the things that I've noticed, I think a lot of people think of sorrow and grief and death as like all this wailing, but one of the experiences that I had was this dad, and it makes me emotional, but this dad was holding his daughter, and she was very very premature. I don't remember how premature, but she was smaller than my hands.
Mm.
I'm 4'11". I'm very small, and he was just holding her, and he had like some tears coming down, but he was just talking to her. He was like, I
Mm.
love you, and speaking
And she
to
was already
her.
gone.
She we were They were had given her medicine
Mm.
to make the passing go very
Yeah.
quiet, peacefully. And
Yeah.
this is a newborn baby. It's like
Yeah.
hasn't been on earth for like more than a couple weeks, but he was just loving on her in a way that he would have if she had been a toddler and a premature, like a preteen and an adult. And it was quiet, it was graceful, but you could feel that deep, deep sorrow. And at the time I was writing a book, and so I channeled that energy into a particular scene that I was writing, and it made me realize, like, wow, grief and sorrow does not always present in a certain way, of course, and we know that, but I think to see it present in so many different ways gives you, I guess, a view of human nature and human emotion. But really a heavy topic for today.
I don't mind it. I like a heavy topic every once in a while.
Same here.
Yeah, I mean, that's really sad. I was thinking really recently I saw one of like someone on Facebook post about a friend of a friend losing their newborn baby. And I haven't, connected with this person in years, but just seeing that, like, I can't even, like, it brings me to think about Lincoln and all the things. And I'm just like, there's not a world where I'm like able to, I don't know what that grief would look like. I don't know that I would make it through it. And then this person was talking about, saying goodbye to their newborn, and he was full term, and I don't know what happened, but something, and he was full term and didn't make it, and she was still saying, that we have solace in knowing that he's with Jesus and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dear God, my faith is not that strong, because the way that I'd be like, you're dead to me, like, I'm not kidding, like that would be the end of like any sort of Christianity left in my bones. Like there's no way that I could experience that kind of loss. Like, I think I'd be able to rationalize it with an adult or with, someone else, but my own child, no. I don't think my faith would not make it.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
And that brings a whole host of other things we could talk about later, but grief, you losing a child, a lot of marriages don't make it, and for good, for not good reasons, but understandable reasons. And even whether married or not, like whether you're faith-based or not, like, it's losing a child, losing anyone, and particularly a child, tests a lot of you in so many ways. And I can't obviously speak on it, but I've seen it too many times.
I can't speak on it either, but having a child now, and I know for a fact my faith wouldn't make it. I don't even know that I would make it. So my faith is out the door. Like, that's gone. There would be no more like, oh, but Jesus, no. The way I'd lose every bit of holiness. So the people that do make it and are still able to come out on the other side and thrive, I
don't even think it's thriving, though. I think it's adjusting, because
100%. I didn't mean it in that way. I just, people that are able to make it, period. I have a level of respect and misunderstanding, because I know.
You would never want to understand that.
No, absolutely, never. I don't want to understand. But yeah, it was a good topic.
Yeah, it was a good topic. Hard things. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts about sorrow and grief? Not the best conversation starter, but things that should be talked about.
Yeah.
Things aren't always happy-go-lucky, and oftentimes grief hits. And I think it's really good and healthy to talk about it and how it presents.
Yeah. I like it.
Bye.
Bye.